PK, what's up, buddy?
We got charged. We got charged, and we got an external charger on the phone right now, so we're good.
Yo, what's the weather in Portland right
It's
now?
cold.
It's actually not bad today. It's probably in the 40s. It's not raining, which is fantastic.
Really cold.
Yeah, it's not bad actually. Maybe it's a little higher. Maybe it's like high 40s. Today's very comfortable. It was sunny yesterday, rained in the morning, sunny in the afternoon. We've been actually getting some great weather.
It snows in Portland, doesn't it?
Not really. I mean, it does, but it's not like normal for it to snow.
There's ice in Portland. We know that.
Yep.
We found that out. There's some bad ice in Portland.
Poor DeAndre Ayton.
Poor everybody. I saw the
get to the
video
house.
of everybody.
Well, that was
Couldn't
an unprecedented storm. Mama Krick burst a pipe in that same storm.
Oh no.
And that sounds bad.
Yeah. Oh, no, I got you. No, it's fine. Yeah. Hey,
So
Mama
we
Crick
had
gotta
to
get
have
by just like the rest of us. It's fine.
Mama gotta have a life too.
Mama Crick
man,
live a
I've
different
got
life
so
when
many
TK ain't
things.
around, boy.
Got so many things I want to say, but I'm just not gonna.
Is your
Not
mom
gonna.
watching
That's
you
where I
do this
draw the
radio
line.
hit?
Well,
Huh?
Is your mom watching you do this radio hit?
No, thankfully not. She would probably encourage me to say what I'm not gonna say.
well,
She's literally over there in the kitchen
I
shaking her
vaguely-
head. Yes.
I vaguely remember when Trysta let everybody know that Super Bowl week was too long. She had a tweet and a clip that's, Super Bowl week is too long. When I'm not even going to say the rest of it, but a young TK found something of her mother's.
Well, okay. So, what do you think about Jacques Vaughn being fired? So how do we fix the All-Star game? I don't know. This is
We can pivot to Jacques Vaughn. I think in general, and I didn't do a video about this because
we pivoted from what Trysta found to Jacques Vaughn. That feels appropriate.
Yeah, exactly. Jacques gone, and he's already been fired twice.
Very nice.
The thing that's interesting about the Nets is if you pay close attention, this now has run multiple coaches, this issue, which is players are consistently saying there's no structure here. There's no organization here. And we want that. We want to figure out and have some idea what we're doing day to day. The last time the team had any structure or organization was when Kenny Atkinson coached this team, right? And then it was supposed to be Jacques Vaughn's job. But I think what's really happening, if you look into it, and you kind of have to either know someone that's close to the organization who's kind of putting something in your ear to watch with your own two eyes, or you kind of just have to look very closely. It's all about Sean Marks. Sean Marks is doing the work behind the scenes, I think, to muzzle or castrate or something the coaches that are there, to have them do the decisions that he wants them to make, which is these are the players that are starting. This is what the rotation should look like. Tell Spencer we're doing one thing, but we're actually doing another thing. We're going to do it this way because we want to get rid of Ben Simmons and we want to trade him. And that's fine. You want to try to get players' trade values up, but it just all turns into a mishmash. There was no practice schedule that any of these players understood. When James Harden is out here calling you out, when he's one of the most notoriously lackadaisical players in the NBA who wants to go out and do his thing, and he's calling your organization out for not having their stuff together, that it's franchise wide. So I don't know who's coming in. I know the rumors are Kevin Ollie. He's not going to change anything about that team. If I'm Mikal Bridges, I'm get me the hell out of here right now. Out of here now.
That in a grand scheme of thing, it just feels like Brooklyn just is not a good place to have this franchise. It just doesn't seem to work. They are basically just this nondescript franchise. Even when they were in New Jersey as the Nets, they had an identity of being New Jersey. You know what I'm saying? At least you were Jersey, little brother to the Knicks or whatever the case may be, but it was Jersey. It was a team that, Jersey could get behind. They had some type of identity. Even the Clippers, even if there's just like a loser or a little brother to the Lakers, there's some type of identity, that you can have. Brooklyn is just, am I wrong? They're just a nondescript franchise. Maybe it's the black and white. Maybe it's playing in Brooklyn. Maybe it'll take a whole generation to get some type of prestige.
But why is this different
them.
than being in New Jersey?
Because Jersey, at least you had to me, you had the thought of, all right, this is Lil Bro. Like your identity was Lil Bro. Brooklyn don't really have no idea. It's just like, oh yeah, Brooklyn's there.
Yeah, I think it's so much deeper than that. I think in general, you can build something organically and a fan base is going to get behind it. And Barclays Center is in a great spot in Brooklyn. The training facility is really close. It's a much better setup really than the Knicks have when they have to be in upstate New York. I think it's really just Sean Marks. He's not put together a roster in a way that makes sense. He tried to swing for the fences and get multiple stars where there was no cohesion between those stars at a very difficult point in time, but you traded away a lot of capital in order to get Harden, which set you back a long way. All of those guys ended up asking out, and now your cupboards are not just empty for draft picks of your own, but you don't get Phoenixes until 25. And then what you got back in return in terms of players are all wings. And I know it's a wing-based league, but you don't have any roster that makes sense. You've got Royce O'Neal, he got traded, but you've got Cam Johnson there, Mikal Bridges there, Dorian Finney-Smith there. You don't have a real true point guard there. There hasn't been a plan, really, and a culture built within. And I think the biggest mistake they made was firing Kenny. Kenny was building something. The fan base was actually excited when they were the 6th seed when D'Lo was there. D'Lo's never been so likable in his life as when he was there. He played with a level of intensity and teamwork. And if you remember, like D'Lo was going crazy in fourth quarters and bringing them back.
Oh, we remember.
Games. Yeah, it was like he was going
very
crazy.
familiar with that here.
Yeah.
So I think and I've asked a lot of people, agents, other front office members, like, what's Sean Marks like as a GM? Is he good? And I always get, he's not bad. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? Does he know how to evaluate talent? Does he know how to develop talent? Like, is he a good negotiator for getting what he wants with other GMs? Like, I never get like, yes. I've never once heard he's really good. The Steve Nash hiring was absurd. It was nepotism beyond belief. Every decision that he's made, including not trading Mikal Bridges for 4 or 5 first-round picks, he's just intent to keep him and leave him there with no real infrastructure around him. Has anybody's stock gone down as fast as Mikal Bridges? He had that one little pop when he first got traded there, and he was scoring like crazy. That was when you should have traded him. But like when he was on the Suns, everybody wanted him, and now it kind of feels like he's just lost.
I mean, everything you're saying is 100% correct. Sean Marks is bad at what he does. I just think that franchise, think about it, that franchise never even had a rookie. Like they've never, you talk about building something. They've never even had a rookie.
That team, the Brooklyn Nets, had a championship caliber team when they brought Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in on what was a good Nets team to me. You added those 2 stars on a team that was already good. But your boy got some big cojones and said, I'm gonna go get I got some big Coco Joneses and I'm gonna go get James Harden, and screwed the whole thing up.
I mean,
that team prior to James Harden's arrival was a championship caliber team, in my opinion, TK.
Yeah, Jared Allen was huge, and obviously he's a big reason that Cleveland's succeeding. Getting rid of him was just a major miss.
But to what you just said, that shelf life was always going to be shorter. Yeah. Adding James Harden to that was always going to make the shelf life of that team versus the team that Kyrie and Kevin Durant joined much shorter.
True, but do you think that, like, do maybe he looked at it like this, and he's terrible at his job, don't get it twisted, but I don't have that long of a shelf life with these guys anyway.
No, yeah, I think I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong. If you have a good young group right there, you can extend Kyrie and Kevin Durant.
Yeah, but do you think
you gave all of that up?
Well, where have they ever stayed? Where have those guys ever stayed? They don't stay places. There's always a circumstance.
That was Kyrie.
But they never stay.
I can't explain Kyrie in Boston. I can't explain that. Like they had only been on 2 teams at that point, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, 2 teams.
Oklahoma City and Golden State, and Cleveland and Boston.
And they're gone. Now it's 3 teams.
Well, I think part of the reason that they're gone is because of what Sean Marks screwed up.
For sure. I don't dispute that. I just think it's a nondescript franchise.
They need to get rid of him immediately. And if Kevin Ollie becomes the coach, it's just they're doomed.
Kevin Ollie's
what are we talking about here? What are we? Is this a real? I always think to myself when these types of things happen: is this real life? Are we really making the decision to go get Kevin Ollie? He was already in the mix the last time that they were looking for a new coach. They should have just hired Ime Udoka and been done with it. This team would have been so much better if they would have done that. And then I think there were leaks and character things, blah, blah, blah. You know how it was.
The powers that be kind of stopped.
So Brooklyn, was Brooklyn the team that was okay?
Yes.
I think they were all ready to do that. And I think the powers that be said, you cannot do this.
I think they had a deal done.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane. That's insane to me if the league really did step in and say, you can't do this right now. Because I'm asking, why the hell not? He was suspended essentially for an HR violation.
Mm-hmm.
And forgive me, I'm not excusing this, but let's call it what it is. He wasn't even suspended by the league. He was suspended by the Boston Celtics for an HR violation, who by all accounts signed off on this potential signing to Brooklyn. And you stepped up there to say, no, you can't?
How did that timeline go? Was he when they were?
I don't think he had been fired yet.
I think that's the other
thing.
Right.
But every report, TK, you could probably weigh on this better. Wasn't every report Boston was like, we don't care.
Yeah, they were going to they were happy to let that happen.
They were going with Joe, and that was clear. And Ime, you could do what you want.
Yeah,
they would have never had to fire him either, because he would have just gone to another team.
Yeah. And to be, I don't care about being failed.
He's terrible.
But isn't Kevin Ollie just the interim though? Like if they sign him to a long-term deal, like they get everything they deserve. But he's just the interim. He's on the staff, and he
was already there. Yeah, that's
all that.
But he was in the running to take the full-time job before Jacques Vaughn the second time around, and I think he was in the running before they hired Steve Nash too, if I remember correctly.
His name's been around
for a while.
Yeah.
I agree with you guys. They'd be ridiculous to hire within again anyway.
They'd be ridiculous.
Jacques probably shouldn't have got the job when it was. They should have went with Udoka, and that's who was going to get the job. And Jacques only got it because they probably weren't allowed to hire Udoka.
And now you can fire Sean Marks and hire Jordi Fernandez.
Or Jordi Fernandez would be awesome. Yeah. But I don't think Jordi Fernandez, the thing that if I was him, I would pull not to go back to Kenny Atkinson again, but I would pull a Kenny Atkinson and just say no, like he did with the Charlotte Hornets. The situation with Sacramento is so much better. He's going to an unwinnable situation.
If Sean Marks is the general manager, I agree. If Sean Marks is not, I disagree.
Yep.
You gotta start somewhere. But if Sean Marks is the GM, I would.
And from what I understand, Joe Tsai, the owner, and Sean Marks are like this.
That's not a good look, man. That's a tough look for Joe Tsai.
Yeah,
that's a tough look for Joe Tsai.
That franchise, like I said, I just look a little broader with them. Like they've got nothing. They've got nothing. They've never had anything. It's just this franchise in the league that, as soon as the Knicks, like they had an opportunity when the Knicks were down to like have a buzz, but we all knew it wasn't going to last. Once the Knicks got good, they would dwarf the Nets. And like I said, at least when they were in Jersey, they had a state in a city that was like, this is.
Why do you hate Brooklyn? This is a weird stance.
I don't hate Brooklyn. It's just it's not a big enough city to dwarf the New York Knicks. Half of Brooklyn are Knicks fans.
Why does it need to? Okay.
Why
Because
can't
nobody
we
cares
be
about the
New York
Nets.
Nets? Like
disagree.
LA is the LA Clippers, LA Lakers. Why can't it? Why does it have to be delineated with Brooklyn? I don't get
Well,
that.
number one, and this is where some of these things take time. Number one, the Clips have been there for like 40 years. The Nets, they've not moved the needle except for the time when they got KD.
But
and all
this
those
doesn't
other
have
guys.
anything to do with the way that the organization is being run, does it?
No, I'm not saying they're mutually exclusive. I think that's a hopeless organization.
Oh, you're
regardless.
wrong. I think you're terribly
And
wrong.
on top of that, it goes to what the organization has ran. They never start over. Like they never bottom. They haven't bottomed out once. They're always trying to a quick fix. Like I said,
Well, that's a management. That's a Sean Marks problem.
but that's before Sean Marks.
That's not
that's Billy King.
That's not a Brooklyn problem.
That's Billy King.
Prokhorov did that. Prokhorov did that
stuff.
as well. You know that
Well, that's
Damian Lillard,
the other thing, TK,
Yeah.
that I forgot about. You had a owner for like 3 years.
Yeah.
When was the last time you had an owner who was just like, you know what, this isn't for me? I'm out.
And let's be real, like he was a Russian oligarch, and he had to sell the team because they were seizing his assets, and he had to leave the country. So,
Oh, that's a good reason
you
to.
you know, Dame Lillard was Brooklyn's pick.
Apparently, Dame Lillard was everybody's pick.
No, like
But-
number
but-
6 was Brooklyn's. Portland owned Brooklyn's pick because of Gerald Wallace.
Who owns
Oh.
Sacramento's?
Nobody. That was just their own mess.
That was just your own mistake.
It'd be easier to believe if someone owned Sacramento's pick and made them select. He who shall
I
not
know.
be-
T-Rob is like,
No, he who shall not be named.
Damn. Oh man.
we got T-Rob later on, and I was like, top 5
The
pick.
whole damn league got.
And I was
T-Rob.
like, this man can't play basketball.
Well, that's unfortunate.
TK.
What's
did you
up?
watch the All-Star game?
Yeah, I did. I had to do it out of like, I didn't want to do it, but I had to for the pod. So I was talking to my mom, and she's like, aren't you watching the All-Star game? And I'm like, I don't want to. And she's like, don't you have to do an episode about it? And I was like, yeah, you're right. Just turn it on. So I watched it. I watched all of it. I watched the 3-point contest, watched the Rising Stars. I didn't watch the celebrity game. I think you guys can forgive me for that one.
No, I was asked. That's the one thing we saw a lot of because it was on in the
Your
studio during
boy
the second
MVP.
show.
Micah Parsons? He has ups. Aaron Donald's a pretty good basketball player as well.
So is what's his name? Oh my gosh, the greatest defensive lineman in the game right now, Garrett.
Oh yeah,
Myles
Myles
Garrett.
Garrett was balling as well.
Yeah, Myles Garrett.
Yeah, he's good. Yes,
Do you have the outrage though that everybody else has about All-Star Weekend?
I think in general we need to all take a step back and just be like, listen, is it that serious for us to continually write these annual think pieces about the demise of the NBA based around the All-Star game? I know why Adam Silver's scared.
Well,
I get that.
he's
But
still
everybody
up
else, I don't know if we should be like so upset. I think there's probably ways to make it better. I'm sure there's incentives to try and increase the competitive nature in the game. However, I'm not sure that you can really get beyond the fact that everyone knows now that this is an exhibition game. And what matters the most is not getting injured and making it through the last third of the season and going into these are all-stars on good teams. These aren't all-stars on play-in teams. They're getting ready for the last stretch of the season where they want to be fresh and ready to go. Which is why I was not shocked that Kawhi didn't play in it, right? Like he should probably chill out and wait and get his legs ready for the stretch of the season. So I think the fact that players are now making so much money and see themselves as what they are, which is products, and that their legacy is tied to these, ring culture. They don't care about D'ing up at half court. They don't care about like putting the straps on other guys. They just want to shoot from deep and mess around and, have like try to throw lobs to themselves and, try to have fun. But Anthony Edwards, you knew it was a mockery when he's like, I'll just shoot with my left hand the whole time.
I just look, man. They can do whatever. I just thought that I'd like to see a little bit more competitive nature from these guys. They ain't got to
But
play.
how do you do it? You know, like you could say,
Stop
all
being
right,
followers.
well, whoever wins the game gets you got home court for the finals.
I think the way you do it is somebody needs to stop being a follower. Somebody, like, that's really what all this comes down to, is they follow whoever it is, the guy at the time, like whoever sets the standard. LeBron, Steph, and I actually think they play relatively, I wouldn't say hard, but they actually play the game a little bit. But these guys are followers. None of them want to like take it seriously because nobody else is taking it seriously. So they'll just be like, all right, I'll just fall in line and not play defense and just run around like everybody else.
Get through it.
It's gonna take somebody to be like, nah, who, Anthony Edwards, you got the ball? I'm about to lock you up, bro. Like, I'm locking you up. Ironically, you would think Anthony Edwards would be that type of person. You know what I mean? That's the type of competitor that he's shown himself to be. But even he's just falling in line of like, I won't do anything. I don't know who that person is, but somebody got to change the energy in that game. Whether it's talk crazy, D up, whatever.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to change the energy, but nobody's willing to.
Yeah, I think the entire premise, everybody's wise to the premise. And it's like, I just kind of want a vacation. And everyone's going out at night, right? Everybody during the All-Star game, including the players that are playing in it, they're out late. They're seeing, these different shows. Like, there's a lot of good parties. So you're not really thinking about getting yourself together to D up. I just don't see that being a thing.
Yeah, they can do more.
I was going to make a joke. Yeah, I was going to make a joke about D'ing up, but there's another.
They can do more than what they do.
They can. The Elam ending. Don't forget that the Elam ending gave us some competitive basketball for about a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't like it because it feels gimmicky. And it's like, how do you satisfy the casual fan and then simultaneously satisfy, the like loyalist fan, right? And casual fans coming in. I think the timing of the All-Star game is whack too. It should not be the week following the Super Bowl. I stopped going to All-Star games when that change in the NFL calendar shifted, when they put in an extra week, which made it Super Bowl then All-Star versus a week. And I think there should really be 2 weeks in between, because it's just, we had the most competitive, exciting last third and fourth quarter and overtime of that Super Bowl, some of the best football that we've seen all year. And then you go into that, right? And it feels like you're getting the Pro Bowl right after the finals. Why would we want that? We wouldn't.
Well, you can resume your All-Star festivities next year when it's in San Francisco.
Oh, I'm definitely coming for that. I've already I'm definitely doing that.
All right. Very good. Very good. We're staying at whatever hotel you're staying at, because I'm sure you'll get like 5 comped rooms for no reason whatsoever. Just throw us one and we'll be
no
good.
MGM out west, unfortunately. So I'm going to be slumming it like everyone else.
Some nice hotels out there.
TK's version of slumming is a little bit different.
She's gonna find the nicest one. They got some.
We're gonna need to book in advance though, baby, because it's gonna be popping, I think.
That's all right. We got you. Or we'll drive.
Next too. You'll go to LA after that too.
Indeed. I didn't go to the LA one. I was in Korea when it was the last LA All-Star.
Have we discussed the Korea era of Trysta Krick?
The Korea era.
Have we?
It was not an era. It was a blip. It was just the Winter Olympics.
This isn't when you almost married. The Olympics. Okay.
It was just I was there for the Olympics. It happened to be at the same time the All-Star game was, which is, again, a big miss. We should not have sporting events on top of one another.
That one's pretty easy. Just Winter Olympics or NBA All-Star game. Yeah, All-Star game. I'm going
to tune into this non-competitive basketball game versus these cross-country skiers who've been training.
I don't need to see the luge. What is it called?
The luge.
Yeah.
Luge in person is so dope.
Is luge the Cool Runnings?
That's bobsled.
Is that bobsled? Yeah. Oh, what's the luge then?
It's I think a different body position.
Oh.
And skeleton's really crazy. I think
skeleton.
that's face first. Pause.
Well,
Oh, that's when they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
and
wild.
if you're up close, because they let you just go as close as as the wall,
Of course,
and you
because
see them coming around the wall. Pause. And it's terrifying. You're terrified for them.
Oh,
yeah, I
wow.
don't think I'll ever go to the Winter Olympics.
No.
I'll catch the highlights at the hotel while I'm at All-Star Weekend.
No, you would love it. It was really
I'd
cool.
love what? It's
No, he
cold.
hates being cold. He wouldn't.
No,
love it.
but it wasn't that bad. It was on the, so they had it in two different spots. One was near the mountains. One was on the coast of Korea, this village called Gangneung, and it wasn't that bad. It was only like 35, 37. I mean, you just put on a
I mean, I'll be
normal.
bundled up. I'm okay. Like I went to the
Yeah.
snow a couple weeks
Well,
ago and
can
it
we
was
just?
fine.
I hope the NBA watches the film back from this
Wow.
past weekend and realizes how stupid they look with these guys coming in from outside, shaking the snow off
Well,
of
you
their
see who
jackets.
put in the bid for after LA?
I
What'd you say?
did Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's a no. We didn't even talk about Doc Rivers.
Well, we got time. Do you want to talk about Doc or you want to talk about Kenny?
I'd like to talk about Kenny. I don't know what's happening with Kenny. What's happening with him?
Well,
Oh, Kenny. I thought you meant Kenny like
not Kenny. I'm sorry, not KC.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
Kenny
mean like
Smith.
Kenny All-Star
Smith.
Game Kenny. That
Kenny Smith.
man, I tell
was
you
wild.
what, I think in general, the larger issue is that these guys, I don't know if they really like basketball. I wonder sometimes to myself, was that the appropriate moment to say that thing, right? You want to talk about Sabrina shooting in the women's three-point line? That's something that you should have been doing in the weeks leading up to the event or even before the event. If you want to have that, well, listen, like almost giving her some sort of cover or excuse if she doesn't, like also, she hasn't been playing in 2 months. Like, but she put up the same amount of points as every other guy in the three-point contest. And then you're like, oh, well, there's women's tees for a reason. She should have shot on the women's three-point line because that's what she's used to. No, Sabrina chucks deep all the time in WNBA games. It was really the rust. She was phenomenal. She had Steph shook. So in that moment, the correct comment is, my God, with all that hype for all those weeks, all that promo that they did where NBA players were voting and saying who they thought was going to win, the lead up was creating pressure for both of them in a way that like we would understand if they folded to it, but man, was it even better than we anticipated. Kudos to both of them under the circumstance. And
they absolutely delivered.
Boy, oh boy, did she have Steph shaking in his boots when he missed 2 or 3 from the top of the key.
No, they both delivered, man. They shot the heck out of the ball, and Steph Curry. I mean, just I'm sitting there watching my son. I'm like, this guy's the greatest shooter we'll ever see. It's not like, oh, there's gonna be legions of Steph Curry's behind him. Like, no, ain't none of them gonna be a better shooter than Steph. He's the greatest we'll ever see. And after Sabrina had her round where I was sitting there like, yo, she's cooking. She gonna beat him. This is crazy. And for him to respond the way he did, they both delivered, man. And I think what you said is spot on about a lot of these guys and girls who cover the game. They don't really cover the game like that, and they don't really like basketball like that. I don't know what happened with some of these former players. Like maybe they've done it for so long, like they don't love it the same as when they grew up or whatever. But I'm with you. I don't think a lot of them really like watch the game like that. Like I don't think they watch the NBA like that. Like me, I love the game. I've got high school basketball playoffs in front of me right now. I watch college. I watch the basketball tournament. I watch WNBA. I watch women's college. Like I love basketball. I don't think those guys who cover the league are watching anything outside of what's on TNT that night.
And I think they're so used to what they maybe see on Twitter, which is just criticizing anything that they could possibly chime in about, that's what they think that the broadcast should be too. Criticize the cities, criticize the players, criticize the way that they're dressing, criticizing every aspect other than what we're watching on the court. Kenny doesn't even know what Tyrese Halliburton does. He doesn't even know. And this is the guy who's like the mantle, the symbol for Indiana's All-Star game. Like, he's the one. He's the one everyone's checking for all weekend long. And you don't know that he's a deep shooter? You're shocked that he hits 5 in a row? What are we doing here?
Right.
L.
Plus, like, all of us, if we're in Summer League, which is largely the worst basketball on the NBA level you're going to see, probably G League too, but it's worse, though, for Summer League, I think, because they're rusty and they're new. And it's all day long, right? It's noon to 11. And it's supposed to be a networking event for a lot of people, too. But honestly, I look up and I'm like, man, I've been in this gym watching hoops for 7 straight hours. And it's not good hoops, but you find the things about each individual player that you're looking to watch them grow in, right? Like you see Alperen Şengün, you're like, wow, I really like that he does this. Or Neemias Queta was like a Summer League god a couple of years ago. And so then you check for him later when he's in the league. Now he's playing for Boston. You're like, oh, yeah, I remember that was what he did, 2 summers ago. So that's, I think, what gets fans excited is the excitement in the people who cover the game, too. And it's a real shame because negativity is poisonous.
TK, I'm glad your mom made you watch the All-Star game.
Shout out to Mama Krick.
No Doc Rivers, I guess. None of that.
We could blow past the commercial break and go to Doc Rivers if you want.
It's all about you guys. Let me know what you guys want. I'm here for you.
What the hell? Yeah, Jesse says do it. Jesse says to hell with it.
I am currently making a compilation.
We don't have to start worrying about commercial breaks till the other station has a number before the point. Those are the rules. So we'll keep moving. So you can ride with Doc Rivers here. What do we got?
I am currently making a compilation video of all of the moments. Well, not all, because it's way too many. Of the highlights and lowlights of Doc Rivers taking credit for things he has nothing to do with and delivering blame to others about things that clearly have to do with him. And if you look on Twitter just for the videos themselves, they come up right away. The Doc Rivers throwing Ben Simmons under the bus comes up right away. Doc Rivers throwing James Harden under the bus comes up right away. Doc Rivers saying that the Clippers didn't have chemistry and they weren't good enough. The Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan Clippers comes up right away. Him talking to Bill Simmons saying that the Bucks aren't being coached right comes up right away. There's just so many of them. For people to get upset with JJ Redick for calling out what we've all been saying, and he decided to put that on wax on a platform like ESPN, and then it turning into like a former Clipper, kind of a Civil War feud where Austin Rivers, I don't know if you guys saw it. He was like, and then we took you out the game at the end of games. I was like, we, you were a player on that team. You literally had a job because your dad put you on that roster. And Pat Bev is only on the Bucks because Doc Rivers is coaching the Bucks. He's been with them. It doesn't make any sense. JJ Redick has no reason to do this other than the fact that, like, it's truth.
Yeah,
Austin's the most hated player. I
really
swear.
is.
Like,
Yeah,
everyone hates Austin Rivers.
Man.
Like, everyone. And every franchise he's ever been with, they hate that dude.
Man.
I think people who don't know Austin Rivers hate him.
Austin is just got that stigma to him, I guess. I guess that's what it is.
He wants to finesse Doc. I told you guys the story when he was coaching LA. It was when they were the 9th seed. They almost snuck into the 8th. I forget what year it was. Maybe it was like early 2010s, maybe 2012, probably 2016, maybe. I forget what year it was. It was one of his last years as a Clippers head coach.
Was it the year they did get in and they played the Warriors in round 1 or something like that?
No, they just missed the playoffs. Just missed it. And they were like a half a game out. And it looked like the last couple of weeks they were going to get in because they started to get hot. And that was like all of the commentary was, oh, can the Clippers get in? Can the Clippers get in? First day of the NBA playoffs, I'm in LA on vacation. I see Doc Rivers at a golf course on the driving range. I say to him, hey, man, you guys almost got in. That was like one hell of a run at the end of the season. Wouldn't that would have been crazy if you guys, because they were like the 10th or 11th seed and they got up. It was real close. I think it came down to one of the last games of the season. And he was like, yeah, that would have been something. What? And then I saw him proceed to play golf the next 7-8 days in a row. He was on his little golf course, on his little golf cart. And I'm like, he doesn't want to coach in the playoffs. He wants to play golf. He wants to get paid, shirk responsibility, pass the blame on everybody else, and then golf at some of the most ritzy golf courses in the country.
Well, I like Doc, but you did forget when he just had a throwback side swipe of his Magic team.
Oh,
Remember?
yeah.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Well, look at the roster. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was so uncalled.
Have you seen the Orlando Magic roster that I coached? Did you see them?
Oh, we should wasn't that the birth of we should tell the whole story? That's where that line came from.
They say a blow 3-1 lead, and all
that's
this,
what it was.
I really
wish
to tell the whole story.
It was the 3-1 leads.
That's a perfect impersonation too. Do that.
They talk about I blow 3-1 leads and all this. I wish to tell the whole story. When you do that, I mean, look at the teams that I had. I did. It's not a whole lot that could happen with that one there. They all sucked. I know.
This guy, everybody's starting. It's like Woj. Remember when the whole collective of NBA fans and media all sort of realized, almost like the fog had been lifted, like, oh, Woj is not just a newsbreaker. He's in everyone's pockets, right? He's a part of the system. He
needs that money for the NIL that he's funding.
He's delivering little seeds like Littlefinger on behalf of agents and teams. And when he breaks something, everyone knows he's like a mafioso. If you don't kiss the ring, you're out. You know what time it is with Woj. I think now we kind of all collectively know what time it is with Doc. It's been coming. And the end of Harden's time. Did you see, by the way, Doc Rivers said that he was consulted by the Clippers.
I saw that today.
On the James Harden trade, and that he was responsible for them pulling the trigger?
Yep.
I like Doc, but he tricked me.
I was so confused when the Bucks called me and told me I was the new coach. That's not how that happens. It'd be like if I called you, I'm like, Damian, you're moving to Atlanta. You're now the radio host in like KTZI, and you're like, wait, no, I think I have say in where I'm gonna work. Well,
the other part of that story will be Damian would spend 6 months telling the program director at Atlanta how bad the shows are, and then when the guy goes, "Hey, you can come get the show," I don't know what.
Me?
Where I don't even know how this happened.
I was so confused.
He went on Bill Simmons' pod and ripped Adrian Griffin for like a solid hour. He did multiple Bucks games and threw this man under the bus about defensive schemes multiple times. They hire him to be a consultant to help Adrian Griffin grow as a new head coach. And all that ends up doing is getting that man, Adrian Griffin, clipped and Doc Rivers the job. That is the definition of a dirty Mac. That is the definition.
Well, why, if that's the case, if that's the case, why do people keep falling for this? Because this isn't the first time.
I think it's because he sounds good when he talks.
Yeah, well, wait a minute. He doesn't sound like a good guy if that's the case. Like, wait a minute.
He's just kind of has a friendly tone, That's what I need to work on. I think I get in hot water when I shouldn't, just because my tone sometimes is bad.
Oh, your tone, yeah.
It's all tone. He's like, yeah, the thing about that I've realized is that, Adrian Griffin's a great guy, but can't coach at all. And you're like, it really soothes how bad the words are that are coming out of his mouth.
Here he goes. He goes, well, Adrian Griffin, I mean, he's a great guy. He's been in the league. He's been around the league forever. But at some point, if you're the Bucks, you've got to decide if you want to win a championship for Giannis. See how he basically said, you got to decide to get rid of this guy. But he didn't say that. He said,
No.
At some point, you've got to decide Giannis isn't always going to be here.
And then
I love how much Trysta loves your Doc Rivers impression. It's been my favorite.
I had done Doc Rivers, his
Oh,
impersonation before that. Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. And then he'll try to claim that he's heard whispers that Giannis was going to go somewhere else if they don't get a ring soon. And didn't
Doc,
he say,
I think
you have
Doc's hilarious, actually.
I think
caliber coach.
Doc just works the system.
Yes.
Like he just says stuff and he knows it'll get like tweeted and become news. And so he just says stuff and it's
been 3 weeks. It's a lot harder than I thought.
Well, he wouldn't wish this on anyone.
That's the one.
That's
the one that got me was I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
I wouldn't wish this on anyone.
Sure, you've got Lillard and Giannis. What are you talking about?
Also, didn't he say that the guys' minds were in Cabo when they lost to the Memphis?
Yeah. He said we had some guys in Cabo tonight.
Yeah, he was in Cabo.
I think they're 3-7. He was on the golf course.
Yeah.
Maybe he was on the golf course in Cabo.
He was probably so pissed he had to coach that All-Star game.
So that's hilarious. Dude's 3-7 as the Bucks head coach, and he was the coach of the Eastern Conference All-Stars.
And put Dame back in there to get that MVP.
And then but Dame was cooking, and he subbed out Dame for Tyrese Maxey, which is so rich because he would always bench Tyrese Maxey when he was the coach of the Sixers.
At what point, though, with the Bucks, does it start to become like a player's problem?
Oh, now.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they. Did you see Dame had his starting 5 of current players in the NBA, and Giannis wasn't on it?
Mm-hmm.
No, hold on. I wish we tell the whole story. I've seen reports that I haven't seen. I don't know. I've seen reports that maybe they said you can't name any of your teammates.
I think it did.
See how I hate the media.
Well, that was like Trysta two or 3 nights ago who retweeted the clip of what was it, Gigi? Gigi saying, "Hey, how did you guys get the win tonight?" And he said, "Well, credit to the Bucks and Doc Rivers," and cuts the clip off and just retweets it as if that's what actually happened. Y'all should be ashamed of yourself. TK, you internet guilty too. Look at it. She got this stupid look on her face because she knows she perpetuates all this stuff on Twitter as well.
Oh, man.
I know. It's so bad, but it's funny.
Well, it is funny. The clip was funny. It was just a sharp, like, blade cut at the end is what really, hey, just credit to Doc Rivers and the Bucks. Wait, what? The hell? That's what he said?
Oh,
wow.
But I do not think that they like each other much. I don't know. Maybe they personally do. Sometimes there's a professional disagreements and professional chemistry issues, and you personally like each other. But this kid Blazers Palace put together this montage of Brook Lopez and Dame and all the things that he did to Dame. Like he took the last shot against the Blazers instead of giving it to Dame when Dame was wide open in order for Dame to hit the last shot. He didn't celebrate with Dame when he hit that last second shot to win against the Kings. He like walked off the court. He ran into Dame at the end of the Memphis Grizzlies game, caused Dame to turn the ball over.
Oh, that was crazy.
Oh,
Dame in the middle of losing a bet. What are you doing?
That was awful.
Just terrible stuff.
Awful.
I think Drew Holiday was more important to this Bucks team than people are talking about in terms of like everyday grind. In the NBA season, 82 games, we all know it's too much. And I think that the players know it's too much. On a day-to-day basis, you need somebody who's a psycho, who's going to get you excited about doing the little things at practice and film and in a game against the Memphis Grizzlies with 3 G League guys on it. Because ultimately, you want to take that game off. But I don't think Dame or Giannis are the ones to push that motivation forward, and that's okay.
Mhm.
But I don't know what you do because it clearly isn't working the way that they would hope it would work. Chris Middleton's been injured. Dame's been dealing with something. Obviously, he's dealing with a lot of things off the court, which sucks, right? There's a lot of you can tell.
Glorilla.
Yeah, Glow loves him.
He's dealing with Glorilla now.
He got a fan in Glow.
I don't think he's dating Glow.
Yeah, Glow.
Well, I didn't say anything about dating.
No, she love her some Dame. Yeah, Glow.
Where's that whistle?
But they had to move on from Drew. It wasn't
No, we gotta go. We
all right,
don't
we
have
like
any more.
literally have to go.
Just is this a shoot though? Were you on 670 Chicago this morning and it was straight lace Trysta?
I was on 670 this morning.
Wow.
I don't think it was straight laced. It just wasn't flags. There wasn't pauses. I think I called. What was this? Was this Allison? Allison, if you listen to the whole hit, I said that the Chicago Bulls were the most disgraceful franchise in the NBA, and they would never win a thing because they were stealing from their fans and using their loyalty from the MJ era, and they'll never do what it takes to compete on any level because they're too concerned about selling tickets, concession money, jersey sales, and beating the Bucks on a random Tuesday in January. I don't think that's corporate, Krick.
No, that's definitely not corporate, Krick. That's off the
skated
top
right
rope
past
with an
that. The
elbow
boys
drop.
asked a new question right after that. They didn't want to deal with it.
Like we didn't want that. Ma'am, give us your thoughts on the Kings. All right, TK, tell Mama Krick Kai we love you.
I will. Love y'all.